Lena Hart stepped out onto her creaking wooden porch in northern Montana, just as the last streak of daylight slid beneath the distant ridges. The air held a crisp bite, the sky sinking into deep lavender, and the stillness around her felt louder than usual. Her husband, Cole, had been on the road for nearly 3 weeks, hauling freight from state to state. She was used to the long stretches apart, but something about this evening pressed heavier on her chest. As if the loneliness had finally taken shape and settled beside her, she drew her cardigan tighter and stared toward the distant highway. The tiny glow of passing truck lights drifted across the darkening landscape like slow-moving stars. Each time one appeared, she wondered if Cole was somewhere out there thinking of her, or if the constant grind of the road had worn down whatever closeness they once shared. Their calls had become short and practical. Their messages felt like habit rather than affection. She understood he was tired, but the quiet hollowness between them had grown too large to ignore. Her phone buzzed. She glanced down, expecting Cole's name, but another one appeared instead. Miles, an old friend from years ago, someone who used to stop by often when he and Cole worked together. He had helped fix their fence, flipped burgers in their backyard, laughed with them under summer lights. But life had scattered them, and he eventually drifted out of their day-to-day world, passing through your area. Just wanted to check on you. You doing all right? The message hit harder than she expected. Someone was asking how she was, really asking, and she realized she hadn't felt that kind of concern in far too long. Without thinking too deeply, she typed back, "I'm okay. If you're nearby, you can stop in." The moment she pressed send, her pulse quickened. She reassured herself it was innocent, just an old friend. But something inside her shifted anyway, quietly and undeniably. 20 minutes later, Miles' car rolled into her driveway, headlights low, almost respectful of the calm around her home. When he stepped out, she saw that same familiar warmth in his smile. He looked older in a steady, lived-in sort of way. "Hey, Lena," he said softly. Her shoulders loosened at the sound of her own name spoken with such simple kindness. They settled on the porch steps, watching the last glimmer of color fade from the sky. Their conversation began with harmless updates, jobs, weather, little pieces of life. But there was a quiet ease between them she hadn't felt in years. He listened without hurrying her along. He asked questions that showed he remembered the version of her she had misplaced somewhere along the way. "You don't seem happy," he said gently. The words weren't bold, but they struck deep. Lena paused. No one had noticed. No one had asked. She tried to smile it off, but even she could hear how hollow her voice sounded. "You don't have to fake it with me," he added. Her eyes stung, but she blinked the feeling away, refusing to unravel on her front porch. Before she could answer, her phone buzzed again. She didn't need to look. Cole's name glowed on the screen, bright in the dim evening. She hesitated. Miles noticed immediately, his expression softening with understanding rather than judgment. "You should answer," he murmured, but she didn't. She let the call fade into silence, her heart beating too hard. She wasn't ready not when she felt so breakable. Miles didn't pry. He just stayed with her, offering steady company without pushing past her walls. They talked for another hour, reminiscing about moments she had forgotten, moments where she had once felt light, laughing freely, dreaming big. For a brief time, the heaviness she had been carrying seemed to lift, but when he finally stood to leave, the quiet came rushing back. The loneliness returned with sharper edges, and Cole's missed call sat on her phone like a question she didn't yet know how to face. Inside the house, the framed photos lining the hallway seemed to gaze back at her wedding day smiles. Road trips full of messy hair and shared laughter, holidays warm with comfort. Those memories felt far from reach now. She brushed a thin layer of dust from one frame and wondered when she had begun drifting without noticing the distance. That night, she sat on the couch, her heart knotted with confusion. One unexpected visit had stirred emotions she thought she'd buried. Something had changed, and the silence of the house felt suddenly heavy with questions she wasn't ready to answer. The sun woke her the next morning, slipping through the curtains in soft golden strips. For a moment, she forgot. Then she reached for her phone, and everything flooded back Miles' gentle voice. The missed calls, the ache in her chest. There was a message from Cole. Long night driving. Sorry I missed you. I'll try again later. It was kind, but distant, almost like he was speaking from another life. She held the phone, feeling the familiar tug of longing for something she couldn't quite name. New message appeared. At the lakeside if you want some fresh air. No pressure. Miles, she stared at the two messages, two different worlds, two different kinds of connection. She wasn't choosing anyone, she told herself. She just needed space to breathe. And the lake sounded like the only place she might find that. By afternoon, she was driving beneath tall, swaying pines, the road curving gently toward the water. Her heart beat steadily, but uncertainly. Miles stood near the shoreline, flicking stones across the shimmering surface when she arrived. He turned, smiling without expectation. I'm glad you came. They walked along the edge of the lake, the soft earth crunching beneath their shoes. At first, they spoke about simple things, filling the quiet with old stories and the sound of water lapping against the shore. Eventually, the conversation deepened. Are you really all right? Miles asked softly. Lena looked out across the glassy lake. I'm not sure anymore, she whispered. I feel like I am living alongside my life instead of inside it. Like everything is on my shoulders. Miles nodded. Cole's a good man, but being gone all the time, I can't imagine how hard that must be. It is, she murmured. I don't blame him, but some days it feels like I'm losing him piece by piece. Miles didn't rush to fill the silence. He simply walked beside her, steady and patient. I miss being seen, she admitted. I miss someone noticing when I'm falling apart. You deserve that, he said quietly. Everyone does. Something inside her cracked open just a little, an old ache, finally allowed to breathe. Before she could respond, her phone buzzed again. Cole. The timing cut deeper this time. She didn't answer. She couldn't. Not while her emotions were a tangled storm inside her. Miles watched gently. You're scared of what he'll say. Or what you might say. She swallowed hard. Maybe I'm scared of the truth. They reached the end of the trail, the lake stretching wide and silver beneath the soft breeze. Miles bent to lift another stone, then stopped. When he turned toward her, his expression held a quiet, vulnerable honesty. Lena, I've wondered what life would have been like if I hadn't left town back then. Her breath caught. He wasn't confessing anything reckless, just acknowledging a possibility neither of them had ever dared explore. A possibility born from timing, not intention. Before she could form words, her phone buzzed again. A voicemail from Cole. Miles stepped back. You should listen. Her thumb hovered for a moment before pressing play. Cole's voice, tired and raw, filled the air. I miss you. I know I've been gone too much. I'm scared we're slipping away. I don't want to lose us. Her eyes blurred. She looked at Miles, then at the lake, then at the phone trembling in her hand. Her heart felt torn in two directions. She wandered a few steps away, needing the air. Miles followed slowly, keeping respectful distance. When her tears finally came, they were quiet but deep. He let her cry without touching her, without intruding, just letting her know she wasn't alone. Her phone buzzed again. This time, an unfamiliar number. She answered. Double quotes, Mrs. Hart. This is Wyoming Highway Services. Your husband pulled over earlier due to extreme fatigue. He asked us to contact you. The world tilted beneath her. Is he all right? He's safe. Just exhausted. He wants you to call him. When the call ended, she felt the weight of everything at once: fear, guilt, love, clarity. Miles stepped closer, concern tightening his face. "He's okay," Lena said softly. "But he asked for me." Miles nodded, the truth slicing through him even as he accepted it. "Then you need to go to him." "I don't want to hurt you," she whispered. "You're not," he said. "You just got lost for a moment. It happens. But you love him? That much is clearer." She wiped her eyes. For the first time in a long time, she felt certainty settle into her chest duct. She stepped away and called Cole. His voice cracked when he answered. "I wanted to get home faster," he admitted. "I pushed too hard. I miss you, Lena." "I miss you too," she whispered, meaning it. They talked quietly, honestly, without defenses. Something fragile between them began to heal. When she returned to Miles, he offered her a sad but warm smile. "Go home," he said. "Take care of him. And you?" she asked softly. "I'll be all right," he said. Some people pass through our lives to remind us what our hearts are capable of. That's all this was. The wind brushed past them, the lake shimmering gold as the sun drifted lower dots. She thanked him from a place of genuine gratitude and walked toward her car dot as she drove home. The world around her blurred into fading colors. The emptiness that once waited for her no longer felt so daunting. She understood now she and Cole hadn't been drifting apart out of lack of love. They had simply forgotten how to reach each other through the distance.